despite being the budding writer. Or so I believed. I dreamt of crafting a prose that would rival the literary giants of our time. Yet, there was this minor hiccup. My writing skills were, well, less than stellar. Most teenagers might have begun their literary journey with a modest poem or a short story, but not me. I decided to dive headfirst into the world of epic novels. Armed with this vintage typewriter and an overactive imagination, I set out to create a masterpiece. I envisioned of gripping tales and profound dialogues, and trust me, metaphors that would make Shakespeare blush. But alas, my literary capabilities were akin to a squirrel trying to solve a Rubik's Cube, confused, bewildered, and making very little progress. Every page I wrote seemed like a chaotic jumble of words, resembling the ramblings of a madman more than a work of a literary genius. Well, every writer knows that the path to literary enlightenment is fraught with perilous procrastination. For weeks, I'd stare at this blank page waiting for inspiration to strike, like lightning, only to be struck by realization that lightning does not strike empty pages. It strikes those who dare to write. This was a fun journey, rather to say. I was up top this emotional roller coaster that would sometimes go up, sometimes fall back down, and sometimes maybe even topple over. But once it went high, really high, and fell, never to be seen again. All of a sudden, I became someone who had no idea what to write or where to start. I felt confused and then later lost. I set aside this vintage typewriter of mine, its chunky keys now silent witnesses to my struggles. I wanted to feel the world around me, not just imagine and write it on a paper, but rather visualize. I loved the play of colors, the interplay of shapes, and the symphony of patterns. But it was the artistry of paint and its ethereal cloudscapes it conjured when delicately introduced to water that truly held my heart. There was a magic in those moments, a magic that was uniquely its own. As I watched the pigments swirl and mingle, I couldn't help but feel that I was a sorcerer, coaxing stories from the very heart of those colorful kilotrons. I was a storyteller in making, not just using my tools to paint on canvases, but to craft entire worlds using delicate medium of liquid color. May you dive into the artistry, into the expanse. Behold its beauty. Making these shots wasn't any simple task. A lot of mess, a lot of creativity, and moreover, a lot of time was put into every single swirl of paint. Each shot screamed a pain of its own. I often find myself poring all over the house to find the tiniest of the greatest combination of colors. Well, the effectiveness of visual representations that you've seen mere seconds ago in enhancing cognitive process and stimulating creativity is well supported by scientific research. In fact, neuroscientific studies have shown that our brains are naturally wired to process visual representations more rapidly and more comprehensively than text. Visual stimuli also activate a broader network of brain regions, including those responsible for pattern recognition, spatial awareness, and memory. These heightened neural engagements enable individuals to connect better to disparate ideas, identify novel solutions, and engage in more profound creative thinking, making visuals an invaluable tool for both communication and comprehension. My journey from an aspiring writer to a multidimensional storyteller taught me a valuable lesson about unlocking one's creative potential. It showed me that sometimes we limit ourselves by confining our creativity to a single medium or a spectrum. But when we expand ourselves to the visual utopia of the world, we learn to communicate and perceive the world around us. Well, my journey through the expanse has quite a bit improved my literature skills too. Well, here's an example. From a writer's block to a brighter view, I found my voice in images too. No longer confined, I learned to see. Creativity flows in both you and me. Words and pictures, hand in hand. Unlocking potential? I understand. In diverse forms, our talents find flight. Embrace them all with all your might. Not bad, isn't it? At least for a budding writer. Thank you.